What is up, guys? Welcome in. Holy cow. It's been a while. Do I even remember how to do this? I got to remember how to do this stuff.
2 minutes till broadcast.
2 minutes already. Good golly. All right. Welcome in. Hey, we're trying to get everything up and going here. Seriously, I got to remember how to make everything work around here. We do the best that we can. We got a big show lined up for you today, and it's only a couple of days because we're off again on Friday and on Monday, so we will be in and out for a couple of days here. But for the few days that we have, we are going to have a lot of fun. Coming up on the program today... Good golly, I got to clean out my emails. I hate that. You ever had that? You have so many emails that it takes you forever to sit there and clean them out. Coming up on the show today, Kevin Hallinan on the program. Oh, good. Okay. As he is the author of the book Over the Wall. We've talked with him on the program before. We're going to talk about the corruption behind Twitter, behind the FBI, manipulating voters and content going into election season. We'll have some fun there. Also, we're going to talk about a guest that we've had on the program a few times on the show. And talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you know what I mean. Hold on here. Got to fix my microphone. Other than that, hope you had a great Christmas.
Seconds till broadcast.
I am all kinds of confused today. All right, if you are on the live streams, welcome in, like it out, share it out. Let's have some fun today. Let's do this thing as we get back into the swing, getting you ready for 2023. Hang tight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
You as the individual, you have the power. You don't have to join a union. You go in as an entry-level position. You get the experience that you need. And then as you work up, you get better at your job, which means they pay you more. If they don't pay you more, then you go to another company to show what you've learned and what your value is to where you can get more. If they really don't like that, then you can go and start your own damn business because we have a free market, laissez-faire, capitalist society, allegedly, to where you can actually go off and do your own thing.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome into the program. We are back, baby, after the Christmas celebration. And do I remember how to do this? It's been a few days. It's actually been, let's see, Friday and Monday. We were going to be back here yesterday. We had some other things going on and sporting events on most of the radio stations that broadcast us, so we figured why the heck not just let it roll one more day. So, hey, we're back at it today and tomorrow, and then a few more days off for the New Year's celebration. So you got me live. Welcome in. It's great to be back. Merry Christmas to you. Hopefully you had a wonderful, fantastic holiday, and let's get you set for New Year's 2023. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a great couple guests here for the next few days, which I am really excited about. As we kind of recap this year, we go into the new year. We're going to talk about some New Year's resolutions. We're going to talk about politics in general for 2023 in the state that we're in, because it's kind of a messed up state. Can we be honest? It's kind of a wackadoodle state that we're in. We did pass the $1.7 trillion bill, spending bill. I refuse to call it a budget because it's not a budget, among other things that are in it. So we'll try and sneak some of that in here, but that's kind of old news. Now, did you notice? We passed it last week before Christmas, and now nobody's talking about it. No other talk show, no other mainstream media. It's done. It's over. Well, I know it's only $1.7 trillion, but it's done and over, so let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, no, we can't do that. We're going to continue to break down what's in that ridiculously absurd bill. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, though, Kevin Hallinan. We've had him on the show many times before. He is author of the book Over the Wall. We're going to break down some of the Twitter releases of content and how the FBI has been involved in it and how we've corrupted our systems, essentially. How the FBI has been working with Twitter, how we had the censorship, the shadow banning, we have the content that was suppressed during the elections, and how they manipulated the voters going into the days of the election. So we'll get into all that here at the bottom of the hour with Kevin. Until then, though, holy cow, hopefully you had a great Christmas. It's been a while since we have been able to chat, so if you enjoyed your Christmas, then awesome. If not, then what the hell, man? Coming up now, we have another holiday just a few days from now. It was a wonderful few days off. I got to enjoy a lot. Little Voice of Reason got just about everything that she wanted. Santa was very good to her this year. We got some time to rest. We got some time to spend with friends, and it was just wonderful and great. So it was a wonderful weekend, and hopefully you got to do the same as well. Not so much, however, for those that are still trying to travel. Good golly. Now, okay, I get it. It was cold. It was wintry. We had the, the snowstorm of a generation. I get it. At the same time, come on, man. Southwest Airlines, I know it's been the big debacle. Everybody's all worked up in the news. People still trying to travel. There are flights that have been delayed over a week almost, and just wanting to get home for the New Year's holidays or trying to actually get back to their lives or get back to work. But Southwest blames not only the cold weather, but then said their system was so old that they couldn't handle the number of flights that were canceled or delayed, and their system just pretty much crashed, and they're trying to get everything squared away and fixed up. And they said that when they got all of the money, which if you remember, what was this, a few years ago, when we spent billions of dollars into investing into the airline companies because they were, remember, too big to fail. Remember that. And the government had to bail them out, then apparently Southwest Airlines did not invest that money into the system to actually keep them functional. No, they did not. Instead, they put it in the pockets of the CEOs and said, well, we're going to tweak some of the aircraft, but we're going to tighten the seats. We're going to make them more uncomfortable. We're going to try and cut corners and make things cheaper. We're not going to make sure that the system is actually running smoothly. And then we're just going to take the money and run with it because that's just what we do. They didn't think of actually upgrading the system. So we're in the boat that we are in right now, and maybe it's a wake-up call for those in the private industry to say, hey, it's time to get your, in gear, or you're going to be going out of business pretty soon because no one's going to be flying with you soon. But honestly, is that really true? Honestly, is that really true? There's Delta, there's Southwest Airlines, there's American Airlines, and I think that's about it. I know there's a few other ones, obviously. There's Sky, which is kind of the cheaper one. What's the one with the animals on the back? I don't remember that one. That one's based out of Denver, I think. And those are really, from what I've heard, not the best quality either. So there's only a limited amount. And, of course, Southwest is going to run a special for a while. Everybody's going to be going to it because it's really cheap. And then you just go on about your business. The consumer has been so blinded and so used to just going with the flow that we don't care about the large industry any longer on the credibility or the integrity of what they do. We just really... if it's there and available, we just go along with it, which is why people trying to boycott certain businesses, we're going to go after Chick-fil-A because we don't like what they stand for. That's cool, but then other people go to it and they continue to grow bigger and bigger. It's very difficult to start a movement in today's times. It's very difficult to actually stand against an quote-unquote evil corporation or some type of government agency or anything that's already in place now because we are so complacent. And maybe that's one of our New Year's resolutions, is not be so complacent as society to where if something's wrong, maybe we should fix it. If someone does something bad, maybe we should correct them, boot their ass out of office, or we should at least hold them accountable for what they're doing, which kind of leads into our topic of today.
What's trending today?
Now, we've had this individual on the program many times before. If you remember, we've had him on the phone many times during the campaign. He actually flew in from New York into the Wichita area where we're based out of here with this radio show. And we've had him in studio for almost an hour interview. And he was a wonderful individual. Enjoyed chatting with him. And we were really pushing for him to become an elected official in Congress. Well, he did it. And we haven't talked about him because he's kind of fallen off the radar since, I'm not in New York. But he did it. And he flipped a blue seat from the 3rd Congressional District from the state of New York to red. And we applaud him and congratulate him for that. George Santos, Congressman-elect George Santos from the 3rd Congressional District of New York. If you go back to the podcast and you can listen to it, we've had him on the show many, many times, and we really enjoyed him. Well, he's in a bit of the hot seat right now, as he has been called out for fabricating and lying on his resume while running for office. I know. So here's the question for you today. And I really want you to ponder this because this is a serious one. I'm not taking a stance per se, although I will give you my opinion on this. But I am bringing up the issue more of a philosophical discussion to ponder deep within. George Santos, according to the headlines that we see today, CBS News has the story where the calls are intensifying, quote unquote, according to CBS News, for Congressman-elect George Santos to step down and after he admitted to lying on his resume. The Republican from Long Island turned the blue district red, and in face of questions about the campaign fraud and deception, the campaign told CBS that he still has every intention of being sworn in next week, where he said he's sorry for embellishing his resume, but believes that he still deserves to serve the voters of Long Island and Northeast Queens who elected him in the election. Now, this is what he had to say while he was on Fox News, the first really national interview that he did with Tulsi Gabbard, who was filling in for Tucker Carlson just a day or so ago. This is what he had to say here.
Of course, it means to carry yourself in an honorable way. And I made a mistake. And I think humans are flawed, and we all make mistakes, Tulsi. I think we can all look at ourselves in the mirror and admit that once in our life we made a mistake. I'm having to admit this in national television for the whole country to see, and I have the courage to do so because I believe that in order to move past this and move forward and be an effective member of Congress, I have to face my mistakes, and I'm facing them. The reality is that I remain committed to doing everything I set forward in my campaign. I'm not a fraud. I'm not a fake. I didn't materialize from thin air. I worked damn hard to get where I got my entire life. Life wasn't easy. It didn't start off easy. As I've said it many, many times, I come from abject poverty. I made some mistakes, and I own up to them. And now I want to put this past me so I can deliver for the American people.
All right, that was George Santos on Fox News with Tulsi Gabbard, who was filling in for Tucker Carlson, where he's apologizing for embellishing on his resume, but not fully lying. Now, here's the claims that are up against it, George Santos, saying that, number one, that he had worked for Goldman Sachs and said that he worded it a little bit differently to embellish, but he did not actually ever work for Goldman Sachs. Instead, he worked for a company called Linkbridge, where he had served as vice president that did financial doings with Goldman Sachs, but never actually worked for the company. One of the other allegations includes him saying that he graduated from Baruch University, Baruch, I believe it's Baruch University back in 2010, when he admits now that he actually never graduated from any college or higher education as well. Quote, "I didn't graduate from any institution of higher learning. I'm embarrassed and sorry for having embellished my resume. I own up to that. We do stupid things in life." One of the other accusations includes him saying that he is Jewish when, in fact, he said he's a practicing Catholic, but said that he had Jewish lineage and said that he wasn't Jewish, he was Jew-ish. He's ish. He's half Jewish because his grandmother told him stories about the Jewish family before his grandmother converted to the Catholic faith, and he is a practicing Catholic as well, so he's Jew-ish, not Jewish. All the accusations coming out and the embellishments that he had on his resume. Is this something worth him to be stepping down? Now, I would like to remind those on the left side of the aisle who are throwing the mud and saying that he's the worst person on the face of the earth. Number one, he is the first openly gay Republican that ran for office, although they're trying to say that he claimed to be married and claimed to have a girlfriend prior to, which he says, hey, I had a difference in lifestyle and I changed, whatever. Not a big deal. I don't really care either way, but for those on the other side of the aisle that like to play the identity politics, there you go. You have your first gay elected Republican in there that was a non-incumbent as he ended up flipping that seat red in the midterm elections of 2022. The other issue is that before they begin to throw the mud and start holding themselves to a higher standard, as Democrats like to do, I'd like to remind you the amount of insane lies the Biden administration and Democrats have been coming out with for years, including the exact same thing that they're accusing George Santos of, which is Joe Biden saying that he graduated at the top of the class at Syracuse College of Law, when in fact, in what year was this? 1987, when he graduated 76th out of the class of 85. Let me repeat that. While he claimed that he was at the top of his class and how great of a lawyer that he was, graduating from the Syracuse College of Law, that he graduated actually 76th out of a class of 85 in 1987. So the lies are there from both sides. If you want to look for a non-lying politician, you're in the wrong industry, in the wrong universe, and probably the wrong dimension, because you're not going to find a politician that doesn't lie or at least embellish dramatically when it comes to their resume or certain bills that they're passing or certain things that they're doing. But if you are looking for integrity as we try to hold ourselves up a little bit higher than the moral standards of the Democrats as Republicans, then how far do you go in berating George Santos, Congressman-elect from the state of New York? Obviously lying and saying he worked for Goldman Sachs. Does that change his qualifications? I don't know. Can he do the job as an elected official? I don't know. When he said that he was Jewish, okay, he's trying to play the identity politics, a large Jewish population in the city of New York. I get it, in Queens. Okay, cool. Does that disqualify him from becoming an elected official, or is it just an embellishment on his record? The graduating college, not having a higher education, making himself look a little bit smarter going into the election to make sure that people think that he's qualified for the job. Is it worth it? Or did he blow his integrity to where we can no longer trust him any longer? I'm curious on your thoughts here because, again, while we do hold ourselves to a little bit higher standard, the politician, what do you do here? Kind of an interesting conversation. We'll do some more of that when we come back here on The Voice of Reason for a Wednesday. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to The Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring The Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. Here you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on The Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Bring some reason into your day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program, 24 minutes past the hour. I am here to say that we are all about trying to raise the bar on quality, on transparency, on trying to make sure that everybody does what they do or say what they do and do what they say, and they're transparent, that they are accountable, that they do have integrity, because that is one of the biggest problems in this nation, obviously, is the fact that we don't actually abide by, we don't tell the truth, we embellish a little bit too much to the point of, but again, are we drawing a gray line here between truth and embellishment, lies and embellishment? I didn't really lie. I just embellished a little bit, which, I mean, I guess if you have a resume, who didn't do that? If you work for a company and maybe you're the manager of like 3 people and you have your management duties of, this is my management duties and this is all that I perform, I can totally work for a major corporation of managing 1,000 people. You know, how many people have embellished like that? Now, I'm not saying what he did was good in any way, shape, or form, and to complete lie about things. I didn't graduate. I actually didn't go to higher education. I don't care that you didn't go to higher education. It makes no difference to me any way, shape, or form. Why would you lie about something like that? The story is great. The story is a courageous, heartwarming success story of coming up from poverty, coming up from nothing, and being a congressman elected now with the federal government. With the United States of America, you are an elected official now representing a large portion of the population, especially in the district there, and doing so as the first openly gay, again, for the identity politics, those on the other side of the aisle, guy representing conservative values, and flipping the district blue to red. That's a great success. That's wonderful. Now, Republicans tried to defend Donald Trump a little bit when he would exaggerate, because it's the New York thing to do, right? Well, it's New York. It's what you do. I've never been in New York. I don't have the accent. I'm terribly sorry. I can't do this. But Republicans used to defend Donald Trump a lot for, he's just a storyteller and he's from New York and that's just the way they talk. That's just the way they do things. Is that what he's doing here? Is just trying to exaggerate a little bit to hype himself up a bit more because, well, obviously politics in the state of New York, I'm assuming, are extremely difficult things to win at. But did he cross the line and just lie a little bit too much?
My heritage is Jewish. I've always identified as Jewish. I was raised a practicing Catholic. I think I've gone through this. Even I've not being raised a practicing Jew. I've always joked with friends and circles, even in the campaign, I'd say, guys, I'm Jewish. Remember, I was raised Catholic. So, look, I understand everybody wants to nitpick at me. I'm going to reassure this once and for all. I'm not a facade. I'm not a persona. I have an extensive career that I worked really hard to achieve, and I'm going to deliver from my experience because I remain committed in delivering results for the American people. I campaigned on inflation. I campaigned on crime. I campaigned on education. I campaigned on delivering resolve for the American people. That's what the people of the 3rd Congressional District heard me on and on as I campaigned. Now it's going to be incumbent upon me to deliver on those results, and I look forward to servicing and serving my district.
There it is. All right. So, well, did he embellish a little bit? The real big question is, can he perform the duties at hand as the elected official of the 3rd Congressional District for the state of New York? That's the big question. Can he do the job? And how much does the resume actually matter? If the resume does matter, then we need to take a serious look at half of the elected officials in Washington, D.C., including the fearless leader of the U.S. with President Joe Biden, who's lied numerous times about where he came from, about what he's done, about his qualifications, about his graduation, about his experiences, about his family, about his kids. We could go on and on and on about everything that Joe Biden has lied about. Not belittling what George Santos has done here, because what he has done with his quote-unquote embellishments, I think is a little far for most people to be like, it was just a misunderstanding. It was just a misrepresentation. Sorry, didn't mean to go that far. It's a little bit beyond that. By just openly saying, yes, I'm Jewish, and oh, by the way, yes, Jew, Ish. I guess is how he's trying to put it. And oh, by the way, I didn't actually graduate from any higher education. I have no higher education. And I worked for a major financial company like Goldman Sachs. I actually didn't. I just worked for another company that was working and doing business with Goldman Sachs. So, by default, I kind of worked for them because I worked with them. That's a little far. At the same time, does it matter? I don't know. My brain's broken a little bit here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. When I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast, become your own Voice of Reason, and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world, and it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days. But I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you. But what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this. But the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for the, I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That, plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit, by no means. However, we talked about it, and I thought, our ancestors were so smart. They know, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while, and people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people
It's
try
been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
My leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Right.
dude, your leg is still severely broken. You just can't feel anything.
yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, you know, just
Mentally and physically.
yes. Well, I mean, you know, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all
now.
getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, you know, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's
Yeah.
that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website, where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out today. Can you believe 2022 is just about all wrapped up here? Holy cow. As we kind of wrap up the conversation from the first half hour of the show, George Santos, Congressman-elect from the 3rd District of New York. We're going to work on getting him on the show. I have people out as we speak trying to reach out to him and see if we can't get him on here over the next week or so to talk about why he, quote-unquote, embellished, or for those that follow it, flat out maybe lied on his resume. But is it really a deal breaker for him to be a congressman, or should he resign because he didn't have any integrity left? Interesting conversation for sure. Again, I reiterate that if we're going to come down on him, do we need to hold a higher standard? We should be holding a high standard for our elected officials because they're the ones electing us. At the same time, if we do that, then the majority of Congress will be out of a job because of how bad most of them are. We'll get back to that conversation here in just a little bit. But let's get into what's trending for the day.
What's trending today?
Really happy to have this guy back on the program. It's been a little bit too long since we've had him on to chat. But as you know, Twitter, the good old Tweety, Elon Musk has been releasing a lot of the behind-the-scenes documents regarding the suppression of certain stories on the Tweety, the shadow banning of people that have been trying to share a lot of those stories, election manipulation, and all of it in cahoots with the Democrat Party and with the FBI, working to try and keep certain information out of the reach of the general public. Where do we go from here, and what the heck happened, and how are they even able to do this kind of stuff? Is what we're going to talk about. Excited to have this guy back on the program. He is an innovative leader in professional sports security and operations, as he's also worked with counterterrorism there in the New York area. He is one of the authors of the book Over the Wall: From the Dangerous Streets of New York City Through the Births of Counterterrorism and Beyond. Excited to have back on the program Kevin Hallinan with us here. Kevin, how are you, my friend?
Andy, I'm good. Thanks for the opportunity to come back.
Yeah, it's great to talk with you. I enjoyed our chat the last time. It's a fascinating conversation. And since you've worked in security, you've worked in this industry, to some degree, this is kind of interesting with all this information being leaked out from Twitter with Elon Musk just not caring, wanting to get everything out to the public for the transparency. Your thoughts on all this? Because there's been, 11, 12 different dumps of really interesting information so far.
Well, Andy, as you might suspect, being somebody who was in investigations for a lot of years, I can't take the initial jump. I like to wait and gather as much information as possible. And if we have some wrongdoers, obviously we have to respond. There's no question about that. And I just, quite honestly, I'm looking, hopefully through this book, to try and bring some people together, particularly young people, because of the issue with recruitment and retention in police work throughout the nation.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this book would give young people, men and women, a picture of, quite honestly, what a rewarding, interesting career law enforcement can be. It's really all about service, and I'm hoping there's some young people out there, and I'm sure there is, that certainly will qualify.
That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. There has been a decline in those that are wanting to enroll and try and jump into law enforcement all over the nation, whether it's the local county, the sheriff's department, just the local police department, or even up into the FBI and those beyond. And I think a lot of it is because of not only do they get the bad rep, quote unquote, on the streets by those that where it's a dangerous job now to be out and about with uniform and go into certain communities, but then also like this issue with the FBI and with the Twitter cases right now with some of the corruption that's gone on. We need the young blood in there to start cleaning up some of those. And like you said, to really have an rewarding career and show that they can be part of a community, right?
Andy, absolutely. And certainly New York had its problems, and I highlight that in the book with the Knapp Commission, which showed that clearly there were police officers that were breaking the law and had to be dealt with. And quite honestly, it was... I looked at it as something that was needed, and if that's the case with these other issues with federal agencies, so be it. But the thing of it is that young people should not be let the headlines dictate where they should go, how they should spend their lives. They should just take a serious look at it, and it's not for everybody, that's for sure. But let me tell you something. There's nothing that's more rewarding as I look back over 25 years. And, of course, in my case, as you mentioned, it created a second opportunity with Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a kind of an interesting transition for sure. And for those that may not have heard the last time you came on the program, talk about your career a little bit and where you came from, not only working with law enforcement, but going into sports security, because that would be a fascinating case all by itself, especially the fact that you were involved around the time of 9/11 as well.
Yes, and Eddie, it really came in handy the fact that I had spent over 5 years as the commander of the Joint FBI NYPD Terrorist Task Force. I knew clearly what our adversaries were up to, what their tactics and techniques were. Not that I had all the answers. Clearly, I didn't, but I think I gave Major League Baseball, and by the way, I didn't do it just with baseball. I brought in the other sports and work together with them on safety and security for our facilities, because it was important to the country. And I think what really came across was we did not limit ourselves to just, let's say, Yankee Stadium. We had a much bigger circle of what was around Yankee Stadium and other facilities where there were railroad tracks, chemical factories, etc., that would be attractive targets by terrorists. And again, they were a very determined bunch, and quite honestly, Andy, what I've been looking at the last couple of days is this power thing, where power is getting shut down by, I understand, military rounds were fired into these substations to cut off power in several instances. So I think that's really something. I suspect the Joint Terrorism Task Force is involved in that investigation.
Yeah, that is true. Your thoughts as you see some of this going on, not just with the shooting there at the energy plants in the Carolinas, but then with the other concerns. I mean, Joe Biden's out there talking about, obviously, a little bit more on the exaggerated level, the most radical political organization, domestic terrorism. From your experience and what you've seen and what you're seeing right now, is the biggest threat to the country internally with domestic terrorism or with individuals wanting to cause harm from within, or is it still an external force of terrorism abroad?
Well, you know what, Andy, we really can't pick and choose. We have to look in both areas. Yeah. We have to be alive to it. There can be no, if you will, laying down and just thinking, we had it made. In 1985, we had arrested over 100 domestic terrorists, and we had several years there of quiet. But, of course, in 1993, the first World Trade Center. So we've got to stay alert across the board. We have to be not reactive, but proactive.
Yeah, amen to that. We're talking with Kevin Hallinan. Over the Wall is the book. Go and check it out as we talk about security across this nation. Talk about the process. I'm curious here of those that are in law enforcement and wanting to move higher up in law enforcement to become part of the FBI or become part of the CIA. What does that entail and how difficult is it? Or is there a percentage or a ratio of how many actually make it up that high?
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a difficult path, no question about it. In fact, when I was getting ready to retire from NYPD and the task force, they talked to me about becoming the national leader of the Joint Terrorism Task Force throughout the United States because of our success in New York. A very interesting proposition, but I think at the time, Andy, and still, I guess, I was a big baseball fan, so it was a fairly easy decision. But yeah, it is difficult it's pretty grueling. And as I said, 5 years working with the Bureau and working with the Bureau throughout 30 different major league cities after 9/11 because of my experience and the importance of everybody being on the same page as far as the planning that was needed to make sure that we were not going to be victims of another deadly attack such as 9/11. So the FBI people I worked with, Andy, they were of the highest grade, men and women both. They really cared about the country. What I possibly wanted to, but I thought, well, if I was a director, maybe I wouldn't have those guys. But hey, listen, I said the same thing about NYPD. So I was, a tough taskmaster, and some appreciated it and some didn't.
No, I can only imagine. I love it. Cracking the whip and making sure the job gets done right. Kevin, we got just about a minute left here as we kind of wrap up and we have our hard break. But the protocols that you put in place during sports security, and I know that you obviously had a lot to do with the security then, are they still using the same protocol now?
Yes. In fact, Andy, that they've even had to take it to another level, as you might suspect, with drones and the technology that's out there today. They've had to take it to a higher level. And I have an inside track, Andy, I'll be honest, though I don't get any top secret information. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. My two sons are FBI agents.
Wow. I love it. It is Over the Wall. Go check it out. From dangerous streets of New York City through the birth of counterterrorism and beyond. Kevin, it's great to have you back on the program again, my friend. It's a great book. It is great content. And as you said, hopefully it can inspire a young generation wanting to come up and clean up and try and help with law enforcement across this nation. We love it, Kevin. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, brother. Let's get you back on the show again soon.
Andy, thank you so much.
Hey, appreciate that very much. All right, when we come back, we got to take a break here. When we come back around the corner, we'll break some of that conversation down. Plus, some of the other, you want to talk about law enforcement, some of it that's going on, not just in the U.S., but around the globe as well. The reemergence of COVID-19. Are you prepared for it? Yeah. We'll get into some of that and more as we wrap up for a midweek celebration. It's the Voice of Reason. In between the Christmas and New Year's holiday, I know you're glossed over and zoned out and you're still in your coma from Christmas. We'll ride you through it right here on the show. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to The Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring The Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the voice of reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hooser Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hooser Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, OurFreedomBook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. Just a few minutes left here of the show. Goes by way too fast, especially for our first episode back. Good golly, man. We need more time. We need a couple more hours to be able to talk about all this stuff. Thanks again to Kevin Hellinan on the show. We always appreciate him. The author Over the Wall, From the Dangerous States of New York City Through the Births of Counterterrorism and Beyond. You can find the book on Amazon along with his website as well, and the publisher's company at posthillpress.com. But you can just find it on Amazon and get it all ordered. We appreciate his time. We'll get him back on the show. Kind of interesting stories. I love hearing about those stories about how we've evolved throughout the years, or maybe devolved in some aspects as well. It is a scary concern that there is such a lack of interest in wanting the young generation to try and join law enforcement. At the same time, I understand. The FBI is a prime example of that, and God bless all the FBI workers out there, the FBI agents that are doing their job, that are doing it properly. It's not the worker bees in most cases where the corruption begins, but it's those at the top that are telling the worker bees what to do. Is it not? That seems to be the case in most cases when it comes to corruption, that the ones that are actually there doing their job, wanting to put food on the table, wanting to do the right thing, they're not the ones to blame because they're just trying to do a job. It's the ones that are telling them and giving them the orders that sometimes get their hairs a little crossed and their wires crossed to tell them on what a priority is and what is the right thing to do versus the non-right thing to do. After the raiding of Mar-a-Lago and Trump's headquarters there, if you remember, there was a lot of call from the Republican side of the aisle to defund the FBI and just dismantle them. Obviously, that's irrational. It's not going to happen, but I understand where they were coming from. At the same time, is it the agent's fault, or is it the ones that are leading the organization that need to be cleaned out? The problem is, it's like the cartel. Once you remove the head of the snake, then it just reemerges with 3 new heads because it pops up all over the place. If you're, remember the drug bust that we see all the time? Oh, we busted a major drug dealer in a community. Well, cool. But then guess what? Someone takes their place and it just picks right back up where it started. It's a dirty system, and it's the ongoing vicious cycle of the pendulum swinging back and forth over and over and over again. It's kind of frustrating, but it goes back and ties into what we talked about earlier in the program with George Santos on the integrity on whether someone should be in an elected office or not, because they not only have to act with integrity when they're in office, but it also falls onto who they nominate. It reflects upon who they actually work with, who they put in certain positions. And as we've seen some heads of the FBI over the last few administrations that maybe weren't quite up to par where they need to be. Because a few of them, went on their personal tirades against Donald Trump while Donald Trump was trying to run for office and while he was in office, and they did everything they could to try and demonize him to the nth degree instead of, hey, I have a job to do for the betterment of the nation regardless of whoever's in office. We've had some good CIA agents. We've had some bad CIA directors. One of them, obviously, that was good, at least in my opinion, was Mike Pompeo, who was a former congressman right here in the district that I'm at here in the state of Kansas, and was the CIA director before becoming the Secretary of State under the Trump administration. And now it seems like tweets behind the scenes is that he may be looking at a run for president here in 2024 as well. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But when it comes to law enforcement, this is where we can change things. Andy, I don't like the CIA. I don't like the FBI. I don't like the militarized law enforcement across the nation. I don't like local sheriff's departments having anti-drug task force that are tanks and SWAT teams and all militarized gear. I don't like that. That's dangerous because we don't want a police state in the nation. Totally get it. Why don't you go in and change things? Andy, I don't like the abuse of law enforcement. I don't like them coming into our communities, whatever community that may be, and abusing us or taking advantage of us or doing racist things or whatever. Cool. Go in the system and change it. The system's not going away, which is the realism and the commonsensicalism coming out of this. The only way we're going to change it is to change it ourselves, which means you have to get into the system to change it on your own. It's not going to be dismantled. It's not going to go away. As we've said on this program so many times before, that you will never be able to get rid of a government agency once it's there. And I don't care whether we're talking about the FBI or whether we're talking about Title 42 or whether we're talking about universal basic income. Once they get it, it doesn't go away. Title 42 may actually go away because that one actually goes against the government being able to allow open borders and do what they want to with a political agenda. So that was kind of a bad example, but you get the point. The government doesn't like to lose power, doesn't like to lose authority, and the more power and authority they have, the less that we have, which means we no longer live in a free society. We live in a utopian society, and that's not something that we're going to allow in 2023. Just a taste of what we get to do with our New Year's resolution in 2023. And lots more coming up for that one. Tomorrow, the last episode of 2022, we'll have our predictions of the new year, both society-wise and politically. Until then, be your own voice of reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason, along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the voice of reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast, become your own voice of reason, and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com.